Hey ho, Kermit the Frog here. That's probably the worst impression anyone has ever done. Do you know what's not the worst thing anyone's ever done, though? This book. This book is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. It is a good book. It's a very good book. I'm not quite sure how to pitch it to you. It is not great literature, but it is really enjoyable, compulsively readable. I was literally sitting in my history class with this open under the desk. I mean, I waited until I'd done all my lessons and all my homework, and then I read it. But not too late, so I could get a good night's sleep. For school. It tells the story of these two teenagers' blossoming romance and deep love for each other, swapping perspectives between each one a few times per chapter. Eleanor and Park. Eleanor is a girl who's just started a new school after being kicked out of her home for almost a year by her stepfather Richie. Park's lived in the same place forever, but has always felt ostracised, particularly because he's half Korean. When the two first meet, Park thinks Eleanor is way too weird to get to know, and Eleanor thinks Park isn't worth knowing. But they start bonding pretty quickly over their love of mixtapes and comic books. I won't tell you any more for spoiling the plot, but it is a really good read. It's compelling, it's fun, it's uplifting, and it will make you want to bust out a buttload of mixtapes. The romance is the centre of the story, but there are enough sidelines and subplots to keep you fully engaged, and these kids have real problems in their lives that you become invested in. I also like the duality of the narrative, the fact that you see it from both characters' perspective, because it explains each person's actions, and you know how in rom-coms when they always misunderstand a tiny thing and it blows out of proportion and it really frustrates you and you just want to climb into your TV and slap them around the face? Or is that just me? Anyway, seeing the narrative from both characters' perspective stops moments from that happening because you can see where each person was coming from. They also manage to feel distinct. I've found when an author tries to write multiple first-person narrators, they all blur into one mishmash. But Eleanor and Park have different voices, different attitudes toward things, and they speak in a different way. You can always tell which one you're reading. If I had to criticise it, I'd say that it was a little bit tended towards sort of purple hyperbolic prose when they start describing each other, but that's accurate. If you've ever known a teenager who's had their first love, they will wax lyrical. My one warning would be, if you have problems or are triggered by descriptions of domestic abuse, violence or sexual assault, I might give this one a miss. Things get pretty intense towards the end, and I can see it not being a pleasant read for some people. But there it is. Eleanor and Park is a really well-crafted teen romance, and I will give it 8 out of 10.